piano covering cloth is the trending clothing material now. Hello people who are also not a morning person. My name is Ceci and welcome to another episode of How to Cantonese. It is 8-something AM now and I know my voice is very attractive now, apparently, so I'm so sorry about that. Today is another episode for advanced level Cantonese tutorial. And actually before starting the whole content, here's my advice for watching this type of advanced level videos for different levels of Cantonese learners. So yeah. Of course, since I am no authority whatsoever, you don't have to listen to me like strictly or something like that. It's just my advice, you can totally ignore it. So in this type of advanced video, so far from the ones that I've made, I tend to lean a bit more towards teaching you how to write in Cantonese. You know, the written style of Cantonese. And by the way, if you're not familiar with the written style versus the spoken style, you can go check out a similar titled video in this channel. Okay, so my advice is, if you are an advanced speaker, that means you can at least hold a simple conversation entirely in Cantonese and no big problem whatsoever. Then in these type of videos, I suggest you actually learn how to use the technique or the vocab that I teach, yeah, and try to make it your own. And for those intermediate learners, by intermediate I mean, so if you are an intermediate learner, and by that I mean you can understand at least some Cantonese when people are talking, you can recognize and a certain amount of Chinese characters, so you have already left the stage of focusing on either speaking or writing, and you've started to kind of dabbled in the other realm. So in this stage, it's too early for you to learn how to write in such, I don't know, elaborate or sophisticated manner, but just learn how to recognize these kind of vocab or grammar when you come across it after watching this type of advanced content. And if you are a beginner and you somehow clicked into this, I don't know, out of curiosity or your mouse is, I don't know, sentient and it just clicked by itself now, don't know why, but you're here, welcome. Well, you just try to get yourself more exposure on the different kinds of Cantonese. Just don't force yourself to learn this thing by this stage. And yeah, by beginners I mean probably you won't be able to understand many Cantonese characters or vocabulary just by listening or reading. You definitely need the pronunciation, spelling to help you read, and you still cannot hold a complete Cantonese conversation, even for a simpler one. You get there, so be patient. And that's an 8.5 minute intro. Good job, me. Okay, just get into the content. Today we're going to learn how to write sentences more sophisticated way. By more sophisticated I mean more gracefully, or at least not childlike, not that childlike. I am a boy, you are a girl. Don't assume people's gender, that kind of blah blah blah. So how to make your sentences in Cantonese look less like it's written by the 3-year-old. Rhetoric. In Cantonese we call it 修辭手法. Oh my voice. Well, just consider it as, maybe the beauty filter for your sentences. Like how you post a picture on Instagram, you have to pick a filter and make it look more beautiful, and then write a hashtag no filter in your caption. And speaking of rhetorics, is it countable? I don't know. And there are tons of ways to further decorate your sentences. And today we're gonna talk about how can I describe it in English? Let's say to use one object to describe another object. I wanted to say metaphors, but metaphors is actually one of the branches that we're going to talk about. So in order not to make you all confused and stuff, I'm not using that word as a general idea. And in Cantonese, that is called 比喻法. There are mainly 3 types of 比喻法 in Cantonese, or at least in Chinese writing. And the first one is 明喻法. Well, 明 means obvious here, and in English is called simile. A is like B. So the special thing about this rhetorical thing is that you have to put in the word of simile here. That means in English, like, seems, as if, etc, etc. But mainly in Cantonese writing, you can rely on 3 characters: 像, 詞, 語. All these 3 characters have the meaning of alike. Using this character, you can put 2 things that have something in common and use one thing to describe another. Simple example: 媽媽像老虎一樣兇惡. My mom is as fierce as a tiger. And the second one is kind of an opposite comparing to the first one, and in Cantonese is called 暗喻. Well, in English is very familiar maybe to all of, I don't know, the English speakers. Metaphors. Well, you know how metaphors work. You use one thing and say it is another thing. In short, A is B. So instead of using the word of simile here, you simply use the verb to be. In Cantonese, that is si in the written style and hai in the spoken style. Well, by saying the decorating object is actually the actual object, I guess you can further stimulate people's imagination? I don't know. But yeah, let's pretend that's how it works, okay? So, example time. Let's just use the same example just so you can get a more, I don't know, vivid idea about how different they are. Using the previous example, in this case, the sentence would become something like 媽媽是一隻兇惡的老虎. Mom is a very fierce tiger. Also, I kinda have to lower my voice when I'm speaking this sentence because my mom's outside. Let's move on to the last one. So the last one is the most difficult ones, i.e. the most obscure one. Is that how you use the word? It is 借喻 in Cantonese. And in English is, how do you pronounce this word? Metonymy? Well, the sample sentence is B is something 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 something. Notice that how the A is missing. And that's the point of this rhetorical writing skill. You just replace the actual object that you want to talk about and with the decorating object. And this is more like to make people, the readers, or I don't know, listeners, to guess and force them to think, what the heck are you actually talking about? Example, because that's the best way of explaining things. So using the previous example, in this case, it will become something like 我家有一隻兇猛的老虎. I have a fierce tiger in my house. So yeah, by saying that, people won't actually think that you actually have a tiger right now in your house by your side. Instead, they will look for the context, trying to figure out what the heck are you actually talking about. How many actually did I use in that sentence? I guess that's the content for this one, so let's make a very quick recap, though we're not talking about much today. So 3 rhetorical ways about describing an object with another object. In Cantonese, 比喻法. The first one, 名喻, using the word of simile to directly saying A is like B. The second method, 暗喻 metaphor, the most familiar one to people, using the verb to be instead of the word of simile, saying that A is actually B to, make people imagine. And the third type, 借喻 metonymy, is entirely ditching the actual noun and using only the decorating noun. That is just using B, not A, so that people are forced to think about what you are actually expressing. Yeah. So I guess that is a wrap for this video, and I hope you find this one useful, helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below if you are, not sure about stuff, you find it difficult or stuff like that. Give it a thumbs up if you like this one, enjoy this one, find it useful, helpful, or you like my piano covering cloth hoodie. It's called Velvet. Actually, look it up. It's fashion. Yeah. Subscribe to this channel for more Cantonese tutorials. Don't worry, I'm not making advanced videos all the time. So if you are a beginner or if you are not advanced, don't be afraid, don't panic. And maybe hit that bell notification thingy so that you can see it immediately whenever I upload. I upload 3 times a week. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye! And also pardon my voice.